This is a story forged in blood and loss, a story about humanity being pushed right to the edge. It's a tale that really asks you, what does it mean to be strong? What does it mean to be kind? And what does it mean to be family when the world is filled with darkness?
It all starts in the quiet snow with a boy named Tanjiro Kamado. He's just a good-hearted kid, selling charcoal to help his family. But one day, he comes home to an absolute nightmare. His entire family slaughtered, the walls of his home shattered, and blood staining the pure white snow. It's a shocking, brutal, and gut-wrenching start.
And yet, from that one single moment of devastation, an absolute epic was born. A story that didn't just do well, it exploded. It shattered box office records, absolutely dominated manga sales, and became this cultural juggernaut that connected with millions upon millions of people all over the world.
So the big question is, how? How does a story about a boy and his demon sister go from that tragic beginning to become one of the biggest anime phenomena of our time? Well, let's break it down. Let's look at the anatomy of this global sensation. Okay, so first up, let's get right to the heart of it all. What drives everything in this story? It's a brother's unbreakable vow.
At the center of this hurricane is Tanjiro. In the wreckage of his life, amidst all that horror, he finds one survivor, his sister, Nezuko. But there's a catch, a really big one. She herself has been turned into a demon, the very same kind of monster that destroyed their family.
And this is where the story gets its incredible tension, right? Tanjiro has two goals: hunt down the Demon King Muzan Kibutsuji for revenge, and find a cure to turn Nezuko back into a human. The problem? To do that, he has to join the Demon Slayer Corps, a group whose entire purpose is to kill all demons. So he's got to become a demon killer while secretly protecting his sister, a demon who, against all odds, still clings to her humanity. It's an impossible situation that powers his entire journey.
But look, a powerful story is one thing. To become a phenomenon, you need something more. You need spectacle. And that brings us to the animation, the part that literally broke the internet.
If you know, you know. Season 1, Episode 19. This is the moment. Pushed to his absolute limit fighting the spider demon Rui, Tanjiro unleashes a brand new power, the Hinokami Kagura. This wasn't just a great fight scene, it was a seismic event. Social media exploded, and overnight, Demon Slayer went from a popular show to a must-see global phenomenon.
And it wasn't just a flash in the pan either. Take Zenitsu, for example. You know Tanjiro's buddy who's scared of his own shadow? Well, the second he passes out from sheer terror, something incredible happens. He becomes this lightning-fast master swordsman. It's a show-stopping moment that made him an instant fan favorite and proved the series had some serious creative depth to its action. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, they gave us the Entertainment District finale, the Sound Hashira Tengen Uzui versus the Upper Moon 6 Gyutaro. People weren't just calling this a great fight, they were calling it one of the most stunning battles in anime history, period. It was like watching a whole fireworks festival explode on screen, just pure jaw-dropping spectacle.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth do they do that? Well, the wizards at Studio Ufotable have this secret sauce, this three-step method. First, they start with gorgeous traditional hand-drawn animation for the characters. Then, they blend that with 3D computer-generated backgrounds, which lets the camera fly around the action. And finally, they layer on these insane digital effects for things like fire and water breathing. It's that mix that gives the show its signature unforgettable look.
Okay, so the animation is mind-blowing, we get it. But flashy fights alone don't make a masterpiece. Underneath all that, there's a real soul to this story. And that's what truly sets it apart.
And here's a question the show keeps asking us, again and again. Are the demons just monsters? Is it really that simple? The show dares to suggest that maybe, just maybe, there's more to it than pure evil.
This is what makes Demon Slayer different. It actually makes you look at the bad guys and see, well, victims. You have Rui, who was so desperate for a family. You have Akaza, whose rage comes from a human past so tragic it's hard to even watch. And Gyutaro and Daki. Man, they're like a dark mirror of what could have happened to Tanjiro and Nezuko. Not many stories spend this much time showing you the broken person behind the monster.
And that's where Tanjiro just shines. He's not your typical hero who just wants to win. As he's defeating these demons, he feels for them. He sees the broken human they once were, even as he delivers the final strike. That rare empathy, that's the real heart of this show.
So when you mix that insane action with this deep, deep empathy, you get something unforgettable. And nowhere is that more true than in the arc that changed everything.
Picture this. Our heroes are on a train with this absolute legend, the Flame Hashira Kyojuro Rengoku. They fight this crazy dream demon, they win, and just as they catch their breath, bam! A Kaza, an upper moon demon, shows up out of nowhere. And what happens next is just a desperate, devastating fight where Rengoku puts everything on the line to protect these younger slayers.
Rengoku is beaten, broken, but his spirit is absolutely unbreakable. And his last words to Tanjiro, "Set your heart ablaze." Man, that's not just a line. It becomes Tanjiro's entire mission from that point on. Rengoku's death wasn't an ending. It was the fuel for the fire that was to come.
So you take the heart, the spectacular visuals, the empathy, that emotional gut punch, and what do you get? You get the recipe for a global phenomenon. I know we've talked about it, but we have to go back to episode 19, Hinokami Kagura. Seriously, this wasn't just TV. It was a moment in time. This was the episode that proved to the world that anime could be something more, something truly cinematic and emotional that anyone could appreciate. And the numbers that followed, they're just insane. The manga, one of the best-selling of all time. That Mugen Train movie, it didn't just break records, it demolished them, becoming one of the highest-grossing films in the world. The global fandom went from big to absolutely colossal, seemingly overnight.
So, why? Why did this story hit so hard for so many people? I think it's because the core ideas are things we all get no matter where we're from. That unbreakable bond of family you see with Tanjiro and Nezuko. The message that real strength isn't about being the toughest, but the kindest. And that powerful idea of finding hope even when things feel completely hopeless. That stuff, that speaks to everyone. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. You know, in a world that can feel pretty cynical and divided sometimes, why does a story about quiet sacrifice, about unconditional love, and about finding compassion for even our darkest enemies, why does that feel so necessary right now? What does that say about what we're all looking for?